by debriefing today's lesson on re-engagement on the candy problem. And we're going to first hear from the member of the team who taught the lesson. So, Hillary?
I was really pleased with how engaged the kids were in the lesson. It was interesting. When they first walked in the room, we had the first problem already on the board, and the very first comment I heard was, "Oh, we already did this." And so I thought, okay, this will be interesting. But they did seemed to be engaged. They were raising their hands and wanting to participate, and it was a variety of kids. I'm used to, in my own class, I have the same 6 kids wanting to respond every time, but I was able to call on a variety of kids. Not everyone, but I didn't expect everyone to want to be able to talk out, but I was really pleased with how engaged so many of the students were in the lesson, both in talking out to the whole group and in their pairs and on paper. And I was really pleased with that.
So can you talk about some aspects of the mathematics that sort of intrigued you as you were like moving through the lesson?
Yeah, so it was I think the third problem that we did, which I think was the last problem with the cream and the chocolate that took so long to process to get through all of the different problems that the kids were doing. I could tell that some of them saw where the numbers, combining a 3 and a 2 and multiplying that to get the answer, but their logic wasn't quite there. And it wasn't until we were able to like circle with the 2 and the 1 with the cream and the chocolate and the 2 and the 1 to make sense. Okay, now we see those 6 chocolates, and because they kept saying 6 chocolates, but their reasoning, I wasn't really clear on the logic of the reasoning for those 6 until we got that. But they had it, but it took some time, and because it took so long to do that, we had ran a little later and made the last problems a little shorter. But I think they were engaged and involved.
Yeah, one of the things that we were wondering about was in those ones of the chocolate, whether the children would discuss a little bit where they could have come up with the answer on those ones where they had come up with an incorrect answer. And that did come out of the discussion. We were going to go back if it didn't come out from the kids' discussion, mm-hmm. but it did come out from the kids' discussion. Mm-hmm. And so that was a really fun thing to have happen. The other thing I thought was very interesting was we discussed whether or not to go ahead and use the manipulatives and the tiles. And we decided to go ahead. And I was interested that they used them in different ways. They really they have different ways of using these tiles. And they were quite, almost everybody chose to use them, even though it was very open-ended about whether to use them or not. Mm-hmm. And that made me think there are so many different models, and when we just teach straight algorithms, we're taking away our exploration of the different ways of looking at a problem. From it's that we take out the richness, and I think that's very fun to watch it come back in.
So, mm-hmm. Could you give us one specific example of how they use the manipulatives that was interesting to you?
Well, one way that was very interesting that I hadn't seen before was using the 2 different colors to stand for the cream and the chocolate, but you use it once and you say what its value is, so that this stands for 3 fruit centers, and the other one stands for 2 caramel centers.
Yes.
I think that was how. So you have a 3 and a 2, then you get the next green one and it's another 3, so now you have 6 here. And then you get another one of the red ones, and now it's 4 down here. So you're just seeing 2 at a time, but they have different values. And then what you end up with is 2 rows of 6. And it was just very interesting. Yeah. And then it was 6 times the 5, because one row they're each worth 3, in one row they're each worth 2 to make the 30.
I saw one like that, and at face value, it looked like the child didn't know what they were doing. It wasn't until we got the explanation that I understood what the child was doing.
That's right. And that's very different from an array model. I mean,
and you think how often in your classroom when you're just going around in a hurry, you see that and it's not what you expect, so you go over and try to change it without taking that extra step of asking for an explanation first.
Yes.
Because you have a set idea in your
Yes.
head. Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Well, I also want to say I thought it was very interesting, just that first one where we're looking at the candies shared between Valerie and Cindy, at that one child who came back and said, yes, he thought it was much clearer to see it if you're counting vertically.
Yes.
And I could see that even after we discussed both of them, that was much stronger for him.
Good. All right, thank you. So I just want to thank your whole school for letting us come in and do this piece of research, and to the classroom teacher to open up your classroom. That's just such a gift for us all to have that opportunity to observe students in action.